So in the last video, that is the part 1 of this topic, I have talked about 3 important topics for Cotton University entrance examination for Masters in English, and in this video I'll continue with the 4th one. If you want to know about the important topics very closely, then you can refer to the UG syllabus of Cotton University, from which they have asked most of the questions. But if you are revising or lack of time, or you are just wanted to understand the syllabus or the pattern of the question papers, then you can definitely watch this video. And in this video I'll try to give maximum numbers of important topics. So let's start the video. One of the important texts that you can refer is Stoops to Conquer. Now let me give you overall small summary from the exam point of view. So Oliver Goldsmith's Stoops to Conquer is a classic English comedy of manners, famous for its subtitle The Mistakes of a Knight. So the entire plot unfolds in a single evening, using mistaken identities and social satire. In 2023, in the question number 9, they asked, what is the alternative title of Stoops to Conquer? That is, The Mistakes of a Knight. So some of the other questions that you can refer from this text is that, like obviously the author of Stoops to Conquer, that is Oliver Goldsmith, and which character pretends to be a barmaid in Stoops to Conquer, that is Kate Hardcastle. Thereafter, I have already mentioned Stoops to Conquer is best described as a comedy of manners. So another topic or the area that you can pay attention to is romantic movement. So the romantic movement in English literature is widely marked as beginning in 1798 with the publication of lyrical ballads. Now, lyrical ballad was written by two authors, that are Wordsworth and Coleridge. Okay, so you should remember that. So in 2023 also, in the question number 11, if you look, they asked, why is the year 1798 considered to be the year of the beginning of the romantic movement? That is, of course, with the publication of Wordsworth lyrical ballads, right? So these are just the basic question and answer I'm discussing. But if you want to go in depth, you should also remember the time period of romantic age, also important writers from it, and of course the first poem in the lyrical ballads, that is the Rime of the Ancient Mariner. In this way you can refer to the important text. I am just giving you the clue or hint what to read. Okay, now let's move forward with Sally's Ode to the West Wind. Okay, so Sally's Ode to the West Wind is a lyrical poem known for its revolutionary spirit and the famous closing line. There is a famous closing line in this poem, that is, if winter comes, can spring be far behind? In 2023, in the question number 12, if you look, they asked this question. Okay, so now we can also pay close attention to Frankenstein. Frankenstein is published in 1818. Remember this date. It is a Gothic novel by Mary Shelley. The narrative is framed as a series of letters from Captain Robert Welton to his sister. You also need to remember this detail, with Victor Frankenstein's story embedded within the letters. Okay, in 2023, in the question number 13, they asked this question, that Mary Shelley wrote the novel Frankenstein in the form of a framed story that begins with one chapter writing letters to his sister. Who is that character? That is Captain Robert Welton. Another text that we can refer in this context is A Vindication of the Rights of Women, the very famous text, which is a foundational feminist text arguing for women's education and rationality. So there are some questions that is asked from this section. In 2023, question number 14, they asked, the central argument of a vindication of the rights of women is, that is, the women's proper education would make them better able to raise families and run households. 2022, they also asked in the question number 4, she was criticized as a hyena in petticoats. Who was she? That is, of course, Mary Wollstonecraft. I hope you are listening carefully. If you want to go a little extra miles, that would be helpful for you. So what you can do is to note down the important topics that I am talking about and Google it, the important questions and the context and important facts regarding those topics, which will surely going to be beneficial for you. So there are so many topics that are previously asked and repeated again and again, right? So in this way we are not going to cover up the syllabus very soon. So whatever I am going to say, just listen carefully. I am going to read out those topics and small information that may asked in the upcoming examination of 2025. Okay, after that next video I am going to design some model question and answer inspired by the UG syllabus and also by the previously asked questions, which may help you to better understand and which may give you some common question and answers, I believe. So for now, just listen the topics and the information I am going to share. And if you have enough time, if you can go extra miles, you can search down those topics to read about extra details. But if you are limited or if you are just doing the revision, just listening those topics would be helpful for you. Okay. Dark satanic meals. This is the phrase coined by William Blake to describe Industrial Revolution dehumanizing effects. Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood. Victorian art movement founded. Remember that Victorian art movement founded in 1848. Also remember the date, with 7 original members. Some of the famous members are Daisy Rossetti, Hunt and Millais. Okay. Thereafter, Christina Rossetti's Goblin Market, story of sisters Laura and Lizzie, where Lizzie saves Laura from goblin temptation. Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights. There are 2 narrators, Nellie and Lockwood. Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Novel, where Mr. Pumblechook takes peeps to Miss Havisham's house. Okay, sometimes they also ask the question that from which of the Charles Dickens novel the character Peep is from, that is the Great Expectations. Thereafter, Strange Meeting by Wilfred Owen's war poem depicting meeting between 2 dead soldiers in hell. W. B. Yeats' Leda and the Swan poem retelling Greek myth contains lines about Shudder in the Lions and Agamemnon dead. Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, symbolizing colonialism and the dehumanizing effect. Virginia Woolf's famous 1910 statement, on or about December 1910, human character changed. This appears in essay Mr. Bennet and Mrs. Brown. Literary modernism features, that is stream of consciousness. And who is the pioneer of the modernism or the stream of consciousness? James Joyce. Coleridge's poetic imagination, defined as repetition in the infinite mind of the eternal act of creation in the infinite I am. This is from Biographia Literaria. I forgot the date of the publication of Biographia Literaria. Please look at that date. Sidney's An Apology for Poetry cites Aristotle's distinction between genosis, that is knowledge, praxis, that is action, new criticism performed close reading, concentrating on relationships within text for distinctive character. Negative capability, term coined by John Keats, describing capacity for uncertainties and doubts without irritable reaching after fact. Now from Renaissance and medieval topics, Astrophil and Stella, Philip Sidney's sonnet sequence, where final sonnets bring no resolution. The important fact from this is that it is the first English sonnet sequence. Thereafter, University Wits, remember the members, and there is a member who is not from Oxford or Cambridge, but despite he is the University Witch, he is considered as the University Witch. Thereafter, from Indian English literature, the shadow lines famously asked, who is the speaker? Thamba, that is grandmother. Aga Shahid Ali's poems, Kashmir American poet wrote Postcard from Kashmir, Self-Portrait and Snowman. Night of the Scorpion by Nizam Ezekiel, Arcana Ryan's Malgudi, published in 1935. Remember this date. And first appearance, Swami and Friends. Okay. How It Feels to Be Colored Me, essay by Jorah Neale Hurston about African American women's experience. Thereafter, you can read Mark Twain. Samuel Langhorne Clemens used pen name Mark Twain. Remember this detail. Thereafter, you can read Emily Dickinson, American poet, wrote, "Because I could not stop for my death." Sometimes they ask this question. So these are the some of the topics you can refer to. After this, I'm going to design some model question and answer based on the previous year questions and also inspired by the UG syllabus. Also, you can check out community post for Q&A practice.